Hello, everyone. My name is Samuel Genus, AI automation consultant, full stack developer, business and technology coach, and public speaker. Today, I want to talk to you about an amazing AI agent to create and publish blog posts to your website or CRM using N8N. All right, so let's get started. My main goal is to create AI agents that save time, save money, improve quality service, and increase revenue for small businesses. My focus is primarily AI automation with CRM platforms. I'm not so much interested in just creating a bunch of shiny objects and just creating just fun AI stuff just to be creating them, But my main goal is to create AI agents that actually help businesses succeed, right? And so there has to be more thought put into the type of agents that we build that actually help businesses grow their business, right? So let's keep going. So the benefits of AI blog posting automation is I have about 15 benefits. And the reason why I'm sharing these benefits before showing you the automation is because I don't want to assume that everybody knows what AI automation is. I don't want to assume that everybody knows the benefits of AI automation as it relates to blog posting. And so I want to make sure that the business owners that are watching this, as well as, AI agency, AI automation agencies, that they at least understand what those benefits are, like the real world benefits to automating this process and using AI to help you automate the process, right? So there are 15 benefits of AI blog posting automation. Number one, AI generated blog posts significantly reduce content creation costs by eliminating the need for expensive writers. Number two, automating blog writing with AI saves countless hours, allowing businesses to focus on higher priority tasks. AI ensures consistent, high-quality content by eliminating human errors and maintaining brand voice. AI can generate and publish blog posts at scale, increasing content throughput without additional effort. With AI handling blog creation, businesses gain peace of mind knowing that their content pipeline stays full. AI optimizes posts for SEO, improving organic reach without requiring manual keyword research. AI-driven automation reduces dependency on freelancers, minimizing overhead costs and delays. AI-generated content can be instantly revised or repurposed, improving content agility. AI helps maintain a consistent posting schedule, keeping audiences engaged without manual effort. AI-generated blogs ensure factual accuracy by pulling from vast, up-to-date sources. AI enables businesses to scale content marketing strategies without increasing team size. AI-powered content creation eliminates writer's block, ensuring continuous content flow. AI reduces editing time by generating structured, polished drafts ready for publishing. AI-driven blog posts integrate with publishing platforms for seamless automated publishing. And finally, AI content tools offer real-time performance insights, enabling data-driven improvements without extra effort. These are some serious major benefits as to why small business owners and solopreneurs need to greatly consider creating and having AI automation for blog, creation, right? Blog post creation, and not just blog post creation, but even the publishing aspect of those blog posts. All right. So blog post AI automation can be scheduled or manually triggered. They can be automatically published to the website or CRM or set private for review first, depending on your process flow. They can include trending news as well as competitor publications, because you can use the AI to actually look at your competitors' websites and their articles, and you can you can glean and gather information on the things they're doing and the concepts they're using to as it relates to AI, news and things of that nature. All right. So blog post AI automation can strategically include SEO keywords. They can intelligently include links to other blog posts or pages on your website that are relevant to the blog content. They can include direct or indirect call to actions, and they can include different call to actions or offers depending upon the blog content. All right. So for those of you who are interested in, at least learning more about, AI automation as it relates to creating and publishing blog posts, and you want to learn more about the benefits, you want to understand like how to go about doing it, you need some help setting it up, you need someone to just help maybe answer some questions, feel free to work with me. You can go to my website, samuelgenus.com. All right. Now there are two options when it comes to N8N, and I don't want to assume that everybody knows this, so I'm just going to share this real briefly before I move on. So you can set up these automations within the N8N website, or you can self-host, right? If you're hosting this on their website and within their platform, it's around $20 to $120 per month. If you self-host it, it's going to be around $0 to $25 a month, depending on the servers that you're using, right? You're not paying for the N8N, you're actually paying for the server. So I have a server at my home, so I can actually host this for free. But just because I'm doing some serious stuff with these workflows, like if my electricity goes out due to a storm, then my server is down. So I prefer I have it here locally, but I also have it on a company called Render, where render.io, I believe, and I host it over there as well. And that's where I put all my production ready workflows and automations. All right. And so I'll show you how to set those things up in another video. All right. So let's get to the fun stuff. Let me show you the automation that I currently have. So let's go to, so here's my website. And then just a simple website. And then if I go to the blog, right, I want to basically add more blog posts to this, right? So I can go here, look at a blog. This is one that I already created, prospecting versus lead generation and how AI automation can help. I provided just some simple instructions, but then AI did the rest, right? And so what I want to be able to do is I want to be able to have the workflow create this for me, all right? And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back into my CRM, and I'm just going to go to the blog, and I'm actually just going to delete this particular blog post, right? So now it's gone, and I'm going to come back to N8N, and here is my workflow automation. And so if I start at the beginning, I just have, for demonstration purposes, my trigger is a chat, and the chat, I basically just put in a topic or a subject that I want the AI agent to write about, and to create an image based on it as well. And so the first thing it does, if you notice, I'm basically using what many people call prompt chaining. I basically have like 3 AI agents back to back, right? And so the first AI agent receives my chat from the trigger, right? And then it will process that and create the outline, right, of my automation. And then I have another object that creates the outline evaluation, another AI agent, and then the blog writer actually writes the blog. And then it splits into 2, and it creates an image prompt because I'm generating an image for this blog as well. And here's the step that generates the blog image. And then I basically extract the base64 string from that and merge it back to the rest of my JSON object, merging it back together. And then I just format that JSON object. And then finally, I send it. I run an API call to my Funnel Goals CRM, and that's where it creates the actual blog post along with the image. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to run this real quick, and then we'll go into the details of this workflow. So let me just go to, let me just copy my prompt here so I don't have to type it. So I'm gonna go back to the starting point, and I'm just gonna go over here and put in my prompt. And my prompt is prospecting versus lead generation and how AI automation can help. And I'm basically just gonna hit this play button or to start, and notice how it's creating my outline for the blog post. That's the first thing it's gonna do. And so it's running that, and I'm basically just using OpenAI, if I'm not mistaken, and I'll show it to you when we go inside of each step, which model I'm using. I believe it's model 4.0, GPT 4.0, and now it's writing the blog. And then on this particular step, I have a structured output so that I can ensure that the output is the same every time I run this process. Right, and once that's done, this one takes a little bit longer because it's actually writing the article, right? And so this is going to run for a little bit, and now that ran, it's now running, it's creating the image prompt, and so now everything else just runs fast at that point, right? And so notice how the entire process has run. I can simply just come right back to my website and go to blog, and here it is. It created the image. It created the title, prospecting versus lead generation, how AI automation is transforming the game. I can click on it, right, and here is my blog post, right? I have the introduction. I have an outline, understanding prospecting, lead generation, explain the intersection of AI and sales process, how AI is revolutionizing prospecting, AI's impact on lead generation, benefits of AI automation and sales, challenges and considerations, conclusions, key takeaways, and then next steps, right? And one of the things that I did in the next step is I wanted the LLM to include like a soft call to action. So just notice how it ends. I invite you to assess your current sales strategies and think about how AI solutions can be effectively integrated in your business model. If you're keen to learn more about leveraging AI automation for improved efficiency and effectiveness in your prospecting and lead generation efforts, don't hesitate to reach out for a personalized consultation, right? So that's just like a soft call to action, nothing, real in your face, nothing too salesy, right? And then if I go back into my CRM, right, I can basically see that new blog post right here, and then I can open it up. And I can make changes if I wanted to, right? Here's a whole blog article. And this is the reason why, ladies and gentlemen, I encourage people to use AI with your CRM, because the CRM is already capable of doing so much, right? And so if you can add AI on top of that and add it to your workflows and have it to make intelligent decisions, right? There's so much that you can automate within your CRM. Right. And so, as you can see, like it took the article, it wrote the article, created the image, and then sent it into the CRM. And because the website is tied to the CRM, I can immediately see the actual article on the website. Right. And then in addition, I can change my settings, and I can say, you know what, I don't want this article to be published, active immediately. Right. Because some people may want to review it before they actually publish it, right? So let's go back into the N8N to look at the steps more in depth, right? So I have my chat, and basically the chat is just basically where I put in the subject, right? Prospecting versus lead generation and how AI automation can help. That's the output. It's the input of the chat, and then it's the output on the right side, and then I can go to the next step. And in the next step, this is the agent that basically receives the input. If you see here, it receives the input here. Right here it says, here's a topic to write on, and it's a variable. I'm basically pulling the variable from the chat input here on the left. And then my system message overview is basically, you are an online writer. Your job is to generate. Let me see if I can just, 1 second. Yeah. So it says you are an expert outline writer. Your job is to generate a structured outline for a blog post with section titles and key points, include key takeaways and an indirect call to action to work with Samuel Genus on their next AI automation project, right? And so if you see to the right, it actually builds that particular step, right? And then if I go back and go to the next step, now that we have our outline, and you can see if I go back into this, it's giving me a structured outline, a blog outline is giving me like the introduction, and the different sections of the blog post, right? And that's good because this gives you a nice structured layout first, and then you send that to the next step, right? And then also within the same step, I'm using an OpenAI for the LLM, and I'm using the GPT 4.0. I think I'm using GPT 4.0 for all of them, I think. Except the next step. The next step I'm using the GPT 4.0 mini, but on all the other steps I'm using GPT 4.0. And you can mix and match these if you want, depending on which LLM works better for the type of results you want, right? And so after the outline writer, it goes to the outline evaluation. And the outline evaluation, what it does, it takes the outline from the previous step and it basically evaluates it. It tries to make it better, right? And so you can see here in my text, here's my text. It says, here's the outline. And then it's just the output from the previous step, right? And then we go down to the system message and we can look at the system message and we just see, we see that that's just like, hey, you're an expert blog evaluator. Revise this outline and ensure it covers the following key criterias, right? And then it says, I basically want to make sure it has an introduction, a clear section breakdown, a logical flow, conclusion with key takeaways, and then next steps, right? And then I also have only output the revised outline. So it's going to look at the left output, which is the outline on the left side, and then it's going to try to make sure that it's good, that it's decent. If not, it's going to try to correct it. And then on the right side, it actually gives us the outline, an improved outline of that. And what's nice with this, it basically prevents hallucinations. It gives you better results, and that's going to be good for your overall workflow, right? And the overall blog that you're trying to write. And so now once the outline has been complete, it now goes to the blog writer. This is the step that actually writes the article. And so if we look in the expression, it's like, here is the revised outline, right? And I just pass that in as a variable because it's coming from the left side. And then now that I got the revised outline, I basically just go back to my system message, and I have a system message on here as well, which is very, very simple. And it basically says, you are an expert blog writer, generate a detailed blog post using the outline with well-structured paragraphs and engaging content. Write the blog article in the first person as Samuel Genus, an AI automation consultant, right? And I basically pass it some of my credentials, right? But then I also tell it only include my credentials if it's relevant to the outline, right? And then I say your audience are small business owners. That's a typo, right? Your audience is small business owners, many of which may be solopreneurs and others with less than 5 employees. And then I say, write article using the outline provided, which is the one above. And then I say to include the title, the subtitle, the published date, and the slug. The reason why I'm telling it to do this is because I want to prep the JSON format for my CRM, right? And so depending on what other CRM you're using, you might be using Go High Level, you might be using Active Campaign, you might be using Keep or some other HubSpot, right? And so depending on what your API expects, right, you may have to adjust your output for that, right? So within my CRM, and this is actually, by the way, for those of you who may want to know, this is a CRM that I help build, right? So I told y'all I'm also a full stack developer. And so here we have title, subtitle, slug, blog type, main thumbnail and stuff like that. So there's some things that, our API expects in order to create a blog article. And so therefore, I prep the data for that. And so while it's writing, it knows to include a title, include a subtitle, include the published date, the slug, and all that, right? And then I said the content should also be in HTML. Why? Because within my CRM, right, that I'm using, the blog post is actually written in HTML, right? And so like if you look at the CRM for the blog pages here, I can put in HTML code, but I can also just write it as regular text, but on the back end, it's being converted into HTML. This is basically like an HTML editor right here, right? And so I'm basically just telling the agent to basically, hey, when you write, write the content in HTML format. And then I also say, important, do not include the title or the subtitle in the content. And the reason why, at first when I did it, I was just like, hey, create the article. And what it did, it added the title and the subtitle right into the content, when in reality, we already have a field for the title and the subtitle, right? And so it didn't make sense that on this page, on the website, that I have the title here and then the title again, followed by the subtitle, right? I'm actually not showing the subtitle on this particular page. I need to add that, right? So if I go back, I also say be a bit verbose, don't be too wordy, but add a little bit of verbose to it, wordiness a little bit to it. And then I say the published date should be the current date time. And then I say the next steps should be a soft call to action to work with Samuel Genus. Right, because every post I want it to be educational, but I also want it to be like a call to action. And then I say the output should be in the following JSON format, and I just provide the exact format that my API expects. Right, I just provide that. And then to the right, you can see when it runs, it actually fills it in. Right, it doesn't have to give me the blog ID and the business account ID, because all that gets set within the API. Right. But the title, it sets the title, the slug, the subtitle, right? There was no video in this, right? It gave me the content, and all that. So it gave me all the data that I needed to create the actual article. Notice how it didn't give me a thumbnail because it didn't create the thumbnail yet, right? And so it only created what I needed to create, right? And so now if we go to the next step, I like this particular step as well, because this creates an image prompt. Right, because the next step here says generate blog thumbnail, but before you generate the thumbnail, you need to create a prompt to pass to the thumbnail, right? And I'm using a website called Together, and you can go there. I'll put all this stuff in the details, the description, and that website is where you can actually generate images, right? And so if I go back to the create image prompt, right, here's my text here. And so it says, create a prompt for an image generator that is relevant to the following blog title and blog content. Do not include words in the image, because sometimes these image generators don't do a good job creating text, right? And so, but I'm sure over time, this stuff is going to get better and better. And so here's my title. The title is coming from the previous step. Here's the blog content. That's also coming from the previous step, right? And if you look to the right, here is my prompt, right? This is the prompt that it gave me back, right? Where is it? That's the blog content. Oh, I got to go to next steps. Oh, here's the output, right? I was looking in the wrong section. Here's the output, right? Create an image that visually represents the transformation of sales process through AI automation, right? So it creates a prompt. And when I first started, I was hard coding the prompt, and I was like, no, the prompt needs to be dynamic, and it needs to change based on the title. And what's nice with this, you can pick any topic, and so all this stuff is just going to adjust itself to the topic that you're talking about, which most copywriters can't do. Most copywriters, they focus on a specific industry. They focus on a specific niche, right? But with AI, these LLMs, they got access to so much data that they can go from talking about, small business. They can switch and start talking about AI. They can switch and talk about beauty. They can switch and talk about medicine. They can switch and talk about religious topics, right? They can switch and talk about travel, politics, all this kind of stuff, cryptocurrency, family, marriage, divorce, all kinds of stuff. And the workflow just adjusts itself, right? And all I had to do was just feed it a topic, All right, so let's go back. So this is also using a model is using the GPT-4o for that particular model, right? And then the next step, right? It calls the API for the together.xyz site, and this is basically it generates the images, right? And so here on the left side you can see my prompt, right? And then on the right side you can see it generated a base 64 JSON, which is basically a string representation of the image, right? And then if I keep going, I basically just extract. I have a step that just extracts the base 64 from everything else, right? Because there's a bunch of other stuff here, and I didn't want to pass that on to the next step. And the reason why I didn't want to pass it on to the next step is because in the following steps, I need to merge them back together. I got the data from my article, right, which is the JSON to send to my API, but I also needed to create an image, and then I need to take that image and add it into my JSON and then send the whole package to the API, right? And so I now have a base 64 string of that image, and then I go back here. I've extracted it, so now it's just separate. And then notice how I have a merge, and the merge is taking, right, if I open this up, the merge node is basically taking all of the JSON from the blog writer agent, right? And that's all of this. And then I also have the extracted base 64 string, which is just this text, right? And I'm basically merging them together. And so I'm just using the mode combine, and then I'm doing it by position, and then the output, basically it outputs it puts the output in the data, right, side by side, and then in the next step, I basically can merge them together. I merge it all back into one, and so now here, I just basically loop through, I just go through my output, and just on line 3, I'm actually taking the base 64 thumbnail and putting it into my original output of the JSON. And then I just send that out. And so now here on the left side, if you notice on the right side, I have all the data that I need. And then on the left side, it's now just one output, right? So I have all the article information, and then all the way to the bottom, you see base 64 thumbnail. It's been merged into it. I actually got stuck on this process, and then I ended up figuring out a way to do it. But some of you out there might be better at this than me, and you might have a better way to do it. Maybe I can eliminate maybe 1 or 2 steps, maybe I skipped something, but eventually I got it to do what I wanted it to do, and so everything's merged into one. And now I can just call the API, right? And so for me, one of the nice things I like about my position is I'm not like all of these other, AI consultants, where they just they're like no code, low code. I'm the type of person I can do it either one. I can do no code, low code, or fully customized code. And so what's nice is I love the fact of being able to create my own custom APIs to do whatever I want it to do. So if I ever ran into a roadblock that N8N couldn't do, I can always create some custom API to do what I need it to do. And so here I have an API, right, that basically creates the blog, and I'm basically passing all this data to the left, which is my blog JSON, and it's being passed to this API endpoint, and then the article gets created, and it returns the blog ID, right? And so that's pretty much it, right? This is kind of like a high level workflow, and so for those of you who may be interested, if you need help putting something like this together, if you need help walking through, this process, I'm here to help. You can go to my website, samuelgenus.com. Now, one of the cool things that I like about this is that, let's say you're not using the CRM that I'm using. You're not using Funnel, but you're using maybe Go High Level, or you're using, Active Campaign, or you're using Keep or HubSpot or some other CRM. The only step you have to change in here is basically this last step. It's like the object that you're going to call for your endpoint. You might also have to change your JSON, right? Depending on what fields or properties is needed within the API endpoint that you're calling, right? But like 95% of this workflow remains the same, right? And so that's what's nice about this as well. And so, this can easily be modified to point to any CRM, whether it's WordPress, as well. You can point to WordPress and stuff like that. The reason why I love working with the CRM is because all of the APIs already exist. Like when I helped build this particular CRM, we have over like 100 APIs, like anything you can do on the front end of the CRM, you can do it through the API. And so, being that that's the case, that means that, we can pretty much automate. We can pretty much call any endpoint from N8N. And by having AI on top of that, those callings can be very intelligent, and stuff like that. So the places where in the past we needed like human input, we don't need human input anymore, because the AI agent is capable of making those decisions, intelligent decisions on their own, right? So that's all I got for you. This is just a very practical AI agent for creating a blog post. And there's some ways that I'm going to tweak this. I'm going to add like a schedule in the front of this. I'm going to add some additional like website searches where you can pull in the news and stuff like that. But this one is actually a good starting point. Like I can actually use this. In fact, I am using this for my own blog, right? And you can use this for your own blog as well. So let me know what you think. For those of you who want to work with me again, let me just bring that back up. For those of you who want to work with me, you can just go to samuelgenus.com. I'll offer a free consultation. We can sit for 30 minutes or an hour, and we can just talk about your next project. We can talk about, maybe I can point you in the right direction. If you're looking to do it yourself, I can point you in the right direction. If you want me to do it, I can help you do it. So just feel free to reach out to me, samuelgenus.com. That's all I got for now. I will talk to you in the next video. Take care.